Okay, here's question 14 on the higher calculator paper. Not a lot of writing here, but just let's read the question. So it's question 14. A is equal to 4BC. A is equal to 100. B is equal to 2. Work out the value of C. So let's think about what this means. A is 4BC. That means 4 times B times C. I'm going to substitute the numbers in. I'm going to replace the numbers straight away with the letters. So A is 100. So I've got 100 is equal to 4 times B is 2 times C. And I need to work out what C is. Now, what I want to find out is 4 times 2 times what number is going to give me 100. Now, there's several different ways you could do this, but I'm just going to work it out in a straightforward manner. 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times something is going to give me 100. Now, what's the opposite of timesing by 8? The opposite of timesing by 8 is to divide by 8. So I'm going to divide 100 by 8 to work out what C is. So C is going to be, and if you get your calculator, remember this is a calculator paper, right? 100 divided by 8 is going to be 12.5. So the value of C is 12.5, and that's what I'm going to write down in the answer space. Now, this is a pretty straightforward question, and those of you doing the higher paper should be able to do this, should be able to do it well enough to get the full 2 marks for this. Going on to part B, let me just move the paper up. Okay, looking at part B, there's several different ways of doing this, as with most questions. However, I'm going to, first of all, looking at it, right, it says make K the subject of the formula. So it wants me to rearrange this so that over here, in the answer space, I'm going to write K is equal to. So I need to rearrange it so that K is on its own. And right now, just reading this, it says M is equal to the square root of K plus 1 divided by 4. So because there's only one K in here, I'm going to use a flow diagram technique to do this. And to do this, I start off with K. That's really important. You start off with the thing that you want to make the subject of the formula. So think about exactly what's happening to K as you build up the formula. So K, I'll then be adding 1 to it. And then, once I did K plus 1, I divided by 4. And then once I divided by 4, I square rooted all of that. And once I did all of that, that was equal to M. So I've just done a flow diagram to describe this equation. Now, in order to get my answer, I'm going to actually do this flow diagram in reverse. I'm going to go backwards, and at each stage, I'm going to be doing the opposite of the operations. And what I mean by that is, start off with M, then what's the opposite of square rooting something? It's squaring. Okay, so M, square it, that's going to give me M squared. What's the opposite of dividing by 4? The opposite of dividing by 4 is to times by 4. So M squared times by 4 is 4M squared. What's the opposite of adding 1? It's take away 1. So 4M squared take away 1. What does that look like? That's 4M squared minus 1. And there is my result. So that means that K is 4M squared minus 1. And that's what I'll write in my answer space. 4M squared minus 1. Now, this is a pretty straightforward question, but a lot of people would be fazed by this and wouldn't necessarily get full marks in it. What I need you to do is to look at this a couple of times, make sure you could follow it, make sure you could do it yourself, and if you get one similar to it, you're able to get all the marks.